Welcome to the Align and Inspire podcast. I'm your host, Laura Monique, teacher and curriculum writer turned program mentor and business strategist for coaches, educators, and mentors, and creator of signature program design. I've helped dozens of established coaches like you create their own signature program that creates incredible transformations and consistent growing revenue in their business. Whether you've created a program that felt off in some way, maybe it felt scattered or heavy or just hard to sell, or you know you're delivering results one-on-one and you want to create a more scalable offer, this is the podcast for you. Here you'll find practical strategies, encouragement, and inspiration to create the offer that you will be known for, that feels aligned, and that you are really meant to create to inspire others. Let's dive in. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Align and Inspire podcast. This is part 2 of a series that I'm doing on renewals, how to really set up your program, your signature program for renewals so that you can increase your revenue, so that you can have more consistent revenue with renewals and retention. So having that regular month-to-month payment after someone has worked with you initially, and how it can really help your clients deepen the transformation, have ongoing support from you, really feel part of your community. There are so many benefits to having a renewal option in your program. But in today's episode, we are going to be talking about how to actually renew without feeling awkward. So how to position your offer, how to sell the offer as a renewal. That is what we're going to be diving into today. If this is your first episode of the series, this is part 2 of 3. In part 1, we looked at the benefits of having renewals in your business and how to actually structure your program so that you can have renewals without feeling like you're shortchanging your clients, your existing clients, or new clients. So it's really supportive for both groups. In this episode, we're talking more about positioning your offer and how to actually sell it. So one of the challenges that you might be facing is really what I've seen when I think about renewals from my experience and from the experience of my clients. There are 3 main mistakes or approaches, we'll say, that can really massively affect your conversions. So the first one, and this is what we're going to dive into today, and then I want to share how you can really price your program for renewals, when to talk about renewals, how to position it, all those things that really come down to your renewal offer. So the first thing that I know that I did, and a lot of my clients do, is having renewals be an afterthought offer, really. So the first thing that you might be doing is you might run your program and it goes well. People really appreciate it. They get a lot of results with you. It works really well. I mean, that's the dream, right? That's what you're looking for when you run your first round or you run a round of your program. And then people say, I'd love to continue working with you. What does that look like? And you're like, yeah, I would love to continue working with you. And in your mind, you're like, I don't have a clue what my next offer is going to be. So it becomes this afterthought. You kind of just throw it together. And I would really encourage you to even think about renewals, even if it's an afterthought for you, because I know, like, when I did my first round of signature program design, which it was not called signature program design at the time, I think it was called offer journey design. So it was more about how to build your offers together so that they flow. I put a renewal offer out there, and every single one of the people who worked with me in my first round renewed with me either one-on-one or in my continued offer. So it's really important to have one, and it can really make a big difference on how much you can support people and how much revenue you can bring in your business. But if it is an afterthought, it can feel like not intentional. It can feel awkward, and you might not really get the conversion rate that you could have. You might not get the number of people continuing to work with you that you could have if you actually had a plan for renewals. So the first mistake to think about is when you think about renewals, if you're in the middle of running your program right now, that's totally fine. You can start thinking about renewals. But the more you can think of it from the outset, like before you even go to sell the first round of your program or the next time you go to launch it, if you have a plan for renewals going into it, it is going to help you immeasurably when it comes to renewal. Because if you've already been speaking about renewals, if you've said that there's this option for continuation later on, if it's not something new, you are going to have a better chance of you're going to have more people opt in for your renewal, and you're going to be more intentional about how you structure your program too. So that's the first mistake, is don't let the renewal offer be an afterthought. Consider how you're going to do it before you really have that offer. So even when you're thinking about it, which leads me into mistake number 2, is you want to think of it ahead of time. So the second mistake that I know I made is I don't think when I started my teaching program, I really had a renewal plan in place. But the next, I think probably in my third round of it, I thought, you know what? Oh, you know what? It wasn't even then. Now that I think about it, my goal was to put my program on Evergreen. And I think it took me 9 months to move my program to Evergreen. So here's what I mean by that. So when I was mentoring teachers and I was helping them stop working evenings and weekends, I had a start-stop model. So we started together, we worked together. I think at the time it was about 8 weeks. And then we ended, and then I launched it again. But the thing was, as I was doing it, I could really see that some people could have stood to work longer with me, and they weren't quite at the result. And I knew if I worked with them a little bit longer, they really would have gotten there. So it was feeling kind of like I wasn't doing what I could have to really support my clients. And it also felt like I was starting from scratch every time. So I knew I wanted to have a renewal system, and I knew I wanted to have some plan for renewals that was evergreen. And that became what I still use today for signature program design, and what I used for my intentional teaching program, which is an evergreen model. And I like to welcome people in monthly, a limited number. So right now, if you were to join signature program design, you'd sign up for the wait list. And when I open up the registration again, I have it's mostly first come, first serve if I think you're a good fit for it. A limited number of registrations open each month to let people in. So it's an evergreen model, and then people can renew into my program. I think it took me actually about 9 months of running intentional teaching before I got that set up, before I figured out how all the systems and structures and how I was going to run the program and the content and all that stuff. About 9 months, which is why I offer that now in signature program design. I want to shortcut that for you. It doesn't need to take 9 months to figure out how to have a renewal option in your program. But what I did was, when I started to do it, I just kind of renewed right at the end. So I was like, okay, well, if this was helpful for you and you'd like more support, you can continue on with me at the end. And people were like, okay, maybe I'll think about that. But then they may have fallen off, or they thought about it and they didn't continue, or it wasn't the right time. And because I didn't have a system for renewals, I lost a lot of those potential renewals and the people that I knew I could help if I just worked with them for a little bit longer. So the next thing that I knew I needed to set up was a system that set it up so that I made my renewal offer earlier, so that it wasn't right at the end. And then I could increase my conversions with that renewal offer. So that is another thing we're going to dive into in this episode. And then the last mistake that I know I made, you might not be making this, but I know I made it, so maybe you do too, is I kind of felt bad. I don't know why, but I kind of felt bad or uncomfortable or awkward making an offer to renew with me. And I think part of it was this feeling like I should be able to get the transformation or the result in the promised timeline. I think that was the bulk of it. Say your program's 3 months and you feel like you should be able to get those results in 3 months. And so I think that was part of it. And then I just felt uncomfortable, like I was taking more money from people. But really, that came down to my money mindset. It's the same thing of, if you make an offer and people pay you for your program and you feel like you're taking their money, that's a mindset issue, right? So the way I invite you to think about it, if this is something that comes up for you, is we're not making anyone do anything. When I walk into Lululemon, I always compare to Lululemon. Lululemon's not forcing me to buy another pair of leggings. I willingly walk into Lululemon, be like, I really want a new pair of leggings. And then I buy the leggings. They are not making me do anything, right? And the same is true when you make an offer. It's an invitation. You're opening it. and you're showing, especially if you're like me, if you've been following me, I'm sure you're like this too. Like, I create offers that are really specific for someone that I think would be really, really helpful for you. Like, they are designed for you in mind. To me, they are like this thing that I've really created to help you. So it's an invitation, but I'm not making anyone work with me. Like, it's not like I'm taking your money. It's an energetic exchange. And I needed to carry that through when I made a renewal offer too, that it is an energetic exchange and I'm still going to support you when you renew. And so there's nothing to feel awkward or bad about it. And you want to be able to let go of that belief, because if you have that belief, it's going to show up when you go to talk about your renewals. You know what I mean? So the other thing that I would address though is if you have a feeling that you should have gotten the result in 3 months or the length of your program, and then when you go to renewal, you feel bad because you feel like they should have gotten it by now. What I would say to that is that I totally understand that, first of all. It comes from a good place. What I would say is that first, you do want to have a really strong structure. So you know that you have a process in place and you have milestones in place so that people can get the results and you're not just winging it. Like, you have an actual signature process, which is what I help you with, a signature process, so that you know that your process gets results and you feel really confident in it. But the other thing that I would say is that when you open your program up for renewals and you position it from that at the onset, it allows people to go at their own pace. So when I open up Signature Program Design, I'll say you can have 4 months, you have access to 4 months of support, which is like you get access to the Telegram group, you get access to group coaching calls, support from me. I will really like look closely at your business, look at your programs. I'll give you that feedback that you need to feel really confident about your program, that it's going to get people results, that you have the structure to scale. I'm going to give you all those things, right? And you're going to move forward with it. But I also have a renewal option for people who want to continue working with me or go deeper on it. And I don't really like specify what the offer is when I first talk about it, but I say right at the beginning that many people decide to renew. And so, going up from like out the onset, that if you want to make sure you get everything done in 4 months, you can do that. But if you're like, you know what, I know I want to keep working with Lauren, or you want to keep working with you, or your clients want to keep working with you, you have that option. It takes the pressure off. That's how I see renewals. So if they want to keep working with you, they've developed trust with you, you know them, you know their story, their journey, whatever you need to know about them to really help them get the transformation, that's just going to deeper when you have a renewal option for people. So if a mindset story is coming up for you, I want to help you let that go, that it's not about taking people's money or that you did a bad job. It's that you're offering continued support. It's an invitation for people. So let's look at first how to position your renewal offer so your alumni know it's going to be valuable for them. That's the first thing. When I first started offering renewals with teachers, like I said, I kind of just said, you can continue working with me. Now, continued support is helpful, but really the more you can say, this is what your next, like, if you continue working with me, here's the next promise, basically. So what I recommend for renewals is if you're at a place where you're renewing as a group, it might be a little bit different, but odds are you're going to be renewing one-on-one with people. And my favorite way to do this is to look at, where were you? And you can write these questions down. This is the flow of a renewal. Where were you when you started? What have you been able to achieve? What is your next goal, and what's getting in the way for you to achieve that next goal? So you want to show people how much progress they've made with you. And then you want to look at, what is your next goal, and am I a fit to help you meet that next goal? So for example, I have had clients who in their first rounds with me, they had a program before, wasn't quite right, felt unstructured. They built their program with me. They had their offer. They finalize what their offer is going to look like, the structure is going to be, how they're structuring their whole program. They feel more organized and ready to go with it. They launched it. They filled it. Now I'm going to say if they're going to renew with me, I'm going to look at all the progress that client had made with me. And then I'm going to say, look at how far you've come. That's so awesome. You celebrated together, notice their progress, because people don't always notice their progress, right? I certainly don't. I try to. And then you say, what is your next goal? If someone said to me, hey, I want to go and take my existing program and I want to scale with Facebook ads and I want to really know my ads, I'd be like, I mean, yeah, I know ads to a certain extent, but if you want a Facebook ad specialist, you should go to somebody else. But if you're like, you know what, now I want to structure my program for renewals. I have alumni who want to keep working with me. I think I want to improve how I'm working, how I'm setting something up, or I want to refine a piece of my program, or I want to change a bit of my offer, or I'd liked my sales strategy, but I want to add this and this and this to it, or this didn't really work well for me, or like my promotion didn't quite go the way I wanted it to. I can say, okay, that's your next goal. I can help you with those things. And here's what renewing would look like with me. Does that make sense? So the first thing you want to do is show your alumni clients or the people who are renewing that it's not just going to be a repeat of what you did before. It is going to help them get to the next goal. If you were to work with me in signature program design and you decide to stay with me beyond the 4 months, I know I'm going to be able to help you get to your next goal if we talk about it and I know I'm a good fit for that goal. So you want to show how your offer, your renewal offer, deepens their transformation or gets them to their next goal. The other thing you can think about, as we touched on this in the last episode, is about their milestones. So when you have a clear milestone, like MIDI result milestones, you have that roadmap, you can say, far along have you gotten on the milestones? Which milestone? They can even assess and tell you, okay, I think I'm on milestone 3. I'm in between milestone 2 and 3. You want them to and they want to get to milestone 5. You can show them how, if they renew with you, you can support them to get to the next milestone. So that's another reason why having those milestones is so, so helpful, because it's less about everyone has to be at the same place at exactly the same time in your program and more about everyone hits their milestones at their own pace. It's okay if they go through roadblocks, and here's how you're going to support them to get to the next milestone. So that's the first thing, is you want to make sure that you're showing in how you're packaging your offer that it is not going to be a repeat of the last thing that you did. It is going to help them get to their next goal. And remember, sometimes I think clients will think, like your students or my students will think, oh, I just need to learn more and then I'll get to the result. Which, I mean, if you are a complete beginner, yeah, of course you have a lot to learn in business. But a lot of times it's not just about learning. It's also about implementing and what's stopping you from implementing, or how you're implementing your mindset, all that kind of stuff, right? So you want to show them that it's not going to be just a repeat of information. It's going to help them achieve their next goal, the next result that they have. So that leads me to the second big idea. Is one question I get is, how should you price your program, and should it be priced differently for renewals? My feeling on this is there's no real right or wrong. It's, again, more of a money mindset issue, concept, I guess. I don't think there's a right or wrong of how you do it. You can either price your program at the same price that it is monthly for people to start. So say you have a pay in full option and a monthly option, you can keep the same monthly option that they were already used to paying, and the renewal is the same. And then they can go month to month from there. Or you could have like a package if they renew with you for 6 months, for example, that's a little bit lower. Or you can say that you want to offer a lower alumni rate. And so it's slightly lower than their initial investment. So it feels like, oh my gosh, like that's less than I thought it was going to be. And that can feel like a real win for them. And it feels like you're acknowledging them as alumni. You can do that too. So there's no right or wrong. It's just about your positioning and how you want to approach, I guess, your program. Are you positioning your program like, I want to honor you as an alumni, and like it's going to be slightly lower for you now that you've had that initial investment? Or is it like, no, this is really a premium program that is really going to be helpful for you, and I know you're going to get to this result, or I'm going to be able to help you to get to this next milestone if you renew. And so the price is the same. There's no real right or wrong on it. It's just about how you want to position it and what feels right for you in your niche with your clients and based on the problem that you solve. Remember when I said that I kind of like threw the renewal offer together at the end, kind of like testimonials. Also did that. Don't leave your testimonials to the end. I kind of threw the renewal offer out of the end, and it was kind of like out of left field. And I didn't get the as strong retention rate as I could have, and that I did get eventually later on once I had developed a system for it. Let's talk about how and when to talk about renewals without feeling awkward or without feeling pushy about it. If you were listening to me, I'm sure you're not going to feel like you're not going to be pushy. You're just not going to, but you might feel awkward. So the way that I think about renewals is the same way that I think about when I go to sell anything. So even as you listen to me, it's not like I'm going to hide that I have signature program design. I'm going to mention it. I'm going to mention my clients' wins. I'm going to say, like, I'm going to talk about it. So it's not a surprise that that's what I do, right? If you want to get to know me more and you want to and you really want to, you resonate with me, you want to work with me, and you want to really have that support in structuring your program, you can come join me in signature program design. I'm going to talk about it regularly, right? And the same, even if I'm doing a masterclass, for example, I'm not just going to pitch at the end. And we have episodes on that about how to sell on your masterclasses, right? I'm going to talk about it throughout. So it's a natural invitation later when you go to talk about it. The same is true for your renewals. So I don't want renewals to come up as a surprise where people are like, what? I'm already at the end of my program. I didn't know that. And they feel kind of cut off. I want them to know that their renewal is coming up and they have the time to think about it. They know that it's an option, what the benefits are. And so when it comes to renewals, it's just a yes or a no, not they're caught off guard that even exists. Do you know what I mean? So the first thing is when to talk about renewals, talk about them regularly within your program, when people are joining your program, throughout the content together. You can talk about what it looks like if they were to renew, and what if you talk about the alumni or however you want to talk about your clients, so that it's not a surprise at the end and it feels like a natural transition. And this is what continued support looks like in the program. So you want to talk about it regularly, but when to actually think about your renewals, I like to have a system where I'm in touch with the person who is going to be up for renewal probably about a month beforehand. So for me, that sometimes I do a renewal specific call where we do some extra bonus calls where I'll do mindset work with you and support, and you can really you connect back into the cohort that you joined in with. I might do that for my renewals, or I have a one-on-one renewal call. There are a few different things that we do in signature program design, but the big thing is that you need to make sure that when someone is up for renewal at the end, that's why I like to have monthly cohorts too, because I know people are up at the end of the month. So I will look at the beginning of the month with my team and we'll look at who is coming up for renewal and make sure that we connect to that person so she knows that her support in the program is coming to an end and she can decide, do I want to renew? Do I have questions about it? What would that look like? How much is it? All that kind of stuff. So when it's at the end, it's not a surprise and she can decide if she wants to continue or not. So you want to have a system where you connect with people either in a group format or one-on-one. I would recommend one-on-ones to start for the first while. And so it's really personalized and you can ask those questions that I was talking about earlier in the podcast episode. Where were you when you started? What's possible for you now? Where do you want to go next? What's getting in the way? And see if you're a fit for renewals, right? You can do that. I like to connect with the person, say for me, it's 3 months. My program's 4 months. So we would connect with you around the early, at the beginning of the month 4. So we might book our one-on-one call, or we might book a call with you, or you might come to a group renewal call with me. And then you can get the idea of what you want to decide for the end of the month. So it's not a surprise. So let's review what we talked about. And then I'm going to share what we're going to be talking about in part 3 of this series. So we looked at the 3 main renewal mistakes that really can affect your conversions. If your renewal is an afterthought that you didn't really think about, and it's kind of something you just throw together at the end, which is fine if you've done that before, but you want to be more if the more intentional you can be, the better. experience that it's going to be for you and for your clients, the more you're going to be able to help them. The second is having a lack of systems. You want to be able to really have a system so you're renewing people on a regular, consistent basis. It's going to improve your conversion. It's also going to feel way better for you and for your client because they're not always like, I have had this. What? I'm done? I didn't know I was done. Like that my support was running out. That's what we want to avoid, right? The more you can put systems and structures in place, the better, so it doesn't feel like a surprise and people feel supported throughout. And the other mistake that a lot of us make is feeling bad about renewals. And it's not about that you did something wrong or they did something wrong or you're taking from them. This is an offer for continued support. It's an invitation and showing someone if they're the right fit or not. I've had clients who are like, they're good. They've met all their goals. They've hit all their goals with me. They're really happy with the experience and they don't need to work with me anymore. And that's awesome. You know what I mean? It's really about making that invitation. So you don't need to feel awkward or uncomfortable about it. You want to make sure that your offer is that you have a specific offer for your renewals and it's not just wishy-washy. So people really see what's in it for them, that it's not just going to be a repeat of what they've already done with you. And when you think about pricing, it's really up to you if you want to continue with the same price point or if you want to have a slightly lower like alumni rate because then they feel like they're getting this like exclusive special thing with you. It's up to you how you want to position it. The big thing is you want to be talking about renewals, sharing the benefits of it, open about it, and that it's like really having that mindset of like, it's here to support your clients. It's not this like, it's not like it's not like this weird money grab or something like that. Like it's an invitation for people. So you're talking about it regularly and you have a system in place so that when your renewal time comes, you easily can talk about it with your clients. For the right people, they can continue working with you. So I hope that was helpful. I would love to hear that if it was. Again, if you want help setting all of this up in your business, you want to have that structure in your business, you can DM me the word waitlist and I can give you all the information that you need for when a signature program design opens up again. But part 3, this is what we're going to be talking about. Now that you have some ideas about how to position and sell your renewal offer, I want to talk about retention rates. And this is kind of like next level, how you can increase your retention rate, because you want to look at once you actually have a renewal system in place, you want to look at your data. So once your structure's in place, you want to look in your data, and we're going to go into strategies to increase your conversion rate. So say you're converting 20% of the people who work with you renew. What are some strategies that you can put into place to improve your client experience, how you're selling it, how you're positioning it to increase your retention rate? We're going to be talking about that in part 3 of this renewal series. So I hope it was helpful. If it was, I would love it if you left me a review on iTunes or on Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts. Again, if you're interested in hearing more, you can DM me the word waitlist, lauramonique.business on Instagram, and I will see you on the next episode of the Align and Inspire podcast.